toughest environment, enter at your own risk.
Yo, I grew up where the air hung heavy and thick. Every corner a battlefield. Gotta be quick, street light, neon sound. In the toughest environment, feet on the ground. I talk fluent in the silent language that the broken walls speak. This is the fortress of steel, when that patch speaks. No escape from HOK, this is real. Before you come in here, you better know the deal.
Carry the whole block's weight in my soul. Born from the cinder block, ashes, people are cool. The toughest environment is me. Built from the concrete, the toughest environment is a net. When you step into the Colosseum, we gon' see them. The ancient of the days, artifact in the museum, yeah.
Enter at your own risk. Don't be like a little bitch.
Oh mama, enter at your own risk.
Don't be like a little bitch.
Yeah, this way it goes down, 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 down. Try to win, you gotta have tough skin.
The concrete freeze like ice. Israelites cold-blooded, think twice, The air cuts like a scalpel. Survival ain't a choice, it's a physical grapple. Where the street lights blink, judgment in the shadows hold a price. Grew callous over fear, paid my dues in pure sacrifice.
Shout out to all those that support this shadow. Special days to you. Without you, there is no me.
Check.
Go.
Peace, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, hotep, namaste, jumbo, ashe, shalom. All the greetings of love and light to the darkest minds of the light, to the HOK family, to the HOK Coliseum family, to the House of Consciousness people. This is really going to be quick. I want to play a video that I have so many teachings about the serpent for years, even from childhood, but for me as an adult in my studies, for years and years and years, I have uncovered for myself understanding about the serpent. And then just about, I'd say 4 years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago now, I really fine-tuned a teaching about Jesus of the serpent of Genesis 3 is actually the representation and the spiritual Jesus, the Yashua, the Yahushua. And there are many teachings about a benevolent serpent in Gnostic, especially in Gnosticism. In a lot of the Gnostic writings, the serpent is benevolent. So that's not something that's foreign to many people who are studying ancient spiritual systems. However, what's unique about what I've put together and what I continue to try to show people from my perspective is that the actual Bible itself, without going to any extra biblical sources, not without having to actually go to a Gnostic source, which is great, to the Gnostic writings, you can see in the Bible that the serpent is benevolent in that story. Serpent is not wicked. The serpent is not evil. The serpent is not the antagonist, but the protagonist, the one who's doing the action for the people who are the people called Adam and Eve. So I'm going to upload this video, but I'm going to play a little bit of it. Shout out to Esoteric Thoughts. Rest in power to my very dear friend, Esoteric. I would do a lot of work with him, a lot of collaboration. And so this particular video I'm going to show is from 2021 when he interviewed me. This is before I started debating it. Jesus is a serpent. And then I'm also going to, if I can, I'm trying to do some other stuff here, so I couldn't really do a show. But I'm going to show you that there are other teachings beyond just talking about the Bible, we can really get an understanding of the alchemy, the esotericism, the arcane of the serpent in spiritual writing. The serpent in spiritual writing, serpents and birds, they have a connection, not just in science, but also in spiritual literature. Okay, now with that said, please hit the like button. I'm going to just show you what I have here. This is fair use. I did download it out of just respect. Go subscribe to Esoteric Thoughts, please. Subscribe. I often talk to my friend about if something happened to him. He said, Nepal, I want you to like keep my channel going. But things, things go the way they go. But I do always support his channel. There's a plethora of information on that channel. A lot of great biblical scholars, astrologists, astrotheologist, lots of great stuff on there. So go check out Esoteric Thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to play this and let you hear, jot down a script and notes to use during the, okay, I don't know. Let me let you hear this is before I started debating, and just give you an idea that Jesus is the serpent in the garden. The serpent is not evil. The serpent, I do like what, shout out to Jehovah, the Holy Ghost. He said, when I asked him the question, and why did Jesus say, why did he compare himself to the serpent in the desert? And Jehovah Holy Ghost hit it on the head, because there are benevolent serpents and there are malevolent serpents. There are benevolent Lucifers and there are benevolent Lucifers. Malevolent, benevolent. Benevolent meaning good, malevolent meaning bad. Okay, so just because you hear serpent, you don't instantly say, oh, evil, evil. When you hear Lucifer, you're not supposed to instantly say evil. Like when you hear the word angel, or demon even, you shouldn't just go, oh, evil, good. It's the context and what is the action of that spiritual entity. What is the action toward mankind? What is the action that entity is doing toward mankind? And then you can decide. All right, without further ado, let me play a little of this so you can listen in. I hope you can hear it. I'm sure you can. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I just want to play some of it. Okay. We couldn't open. Damn, why? Okay, I'm having tech difficulties because I downloaded it in the wrong, Okay, well, that's all right. I got to back up, y'all. Don't worry. I'm just going to go straight here to Esoteric. And this is fair use. So let me just show you some of this. That's annoying. I got to download it in a higher quality. Okay, let's go to this right here. All right. So this is me, of course, on the show. Let me see if you got it. Okay, this is me on the show. And yeah, let's see. Let's listen in. They're sacred. They're sacred, and that's a core one.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you
need to say this first off. We have to reprogram our minds and not look at this as people, individual people, but we do need to still understand that these are beings, these are energy, whatever, you get what I'm saying? So we've been programmed to believe when we read Bible stories like God is this guy and then Satan is this other guy. And so really, if we could just take our surface minds and reprogram our surface minds to see these entities or these beings as energy, or, just a presence and existence as we go through the story. It'll help people with the whole thing of wrapping their minds around, oh, Jesus is the snake? I don't think so. So I want to make that clear, because according to the scripture, I have proof in Ezekiel. I will get to Ezekiel. I mean, I could jump right into it. I'm getting right into it. Ezekiel 28, verse 14, it shows us that the Elohim, who's considered Satan, in the Bible, that Ezekiel 28 is considered Satan, and I'm doing air quotes. So that particular scripture proves that it is the Elohim that is Satan, which people say God in that scripture, but it's the Elohim that is Satan. And it's showing that the serpent in Genesis 3 in the garden is actually the protagonist, or whatever you want to say, or Jesus, the good guy. Okay, so what I'm trying to get at is, when you go to Ezekiel 28, because a lot of people will say, thank you. Peace, everybody. I see you, and it's all love. Please hit the like button. Thank you for being here. So when you look at Ezekiel 28, I can grab that. Let me get out of here. I'm going to go back and forth. I really was cooking. I want to eat something. It's so late. I'm going to do a little of this. Then I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm hungry. My stomach is growling. You guys probably can hear it. Oh my God, how embarrassing. You ever been in class doing a test and it's real quiet? And then, of course, your stomach goes. Okay, let me see here. Ezekiel 28. I want to show you something. Okay? Because people will go, well, what about Isaiah? And what about Ezekiel? It says the serpent this, and then you've fallen. And yeah, that is talking about who was the malevolent serpents of the Elohim in the garden, not the serpent of Genesis chapter 3, who tells them to eat the fruit, or to take part in the knowledge of good and evil, basically to just go into the, really, really get deep into whatever we would say today are the arcane, Okay. Even you could say, I guess, what is it? Psychical, like in the mind. Is that what it is? You know what I'm saying? Like deeper. So let me share this for you, darling, so you can see what I'm referring to when I talk about Ezekiel 28. Okay. So Ezekiel 28. This is, it on the surface, exoteric. Everybody repeat after me. Exoteric. Exoteric means surface. It's not the darkest minds. Darkest minds are the profound. The deeper you go, profundity is depth. The deeper you go, the darker it gets, right? Anywhere in the earth, inside of your body, in anywhere. You travel into the forest, it gets deeper, right? I mean, it gets darker. So the deeper you go, the darker it is. So that's why I say the darkest minds of the light. But the deeper you go, things are revealed to you. And when something is revealed, you're enlightened, right? So when you see the Son of Man say unto the Prince of Tyrus, that's exoteric. Okay? There's layers to this. Exoteric information is right on the surface, and it says, thus saith the Lord, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God, I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man. I don't even know if I'm sharing this with y'all. Oh, I knew I was. See, I came back. There it is. My bad. Sorry. Let me continue. Okay, it says, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. So see, on the surface, you say, oh, well, this is the Prince of Tyrus. Then if you go a little bit beneath the surface, you know how your layers of skin, go to the epidermis, and then we go, beneath that, and then we get a little bit more with subcutaneous, subcutaneous, whatever you want to do, and say you're digging deep, right? So when you go a little deeper, you say, oh, this is also talking about who we know as Satan. When he says, I will sit in the seat of God, you're getting a little bit deeper. But if you go deeper and deeper, you'll know that this is not specifically speaking about who we've been told on the surface, the serpent in the Garden of Genesis 3. No, this is discussing a part of the council of the Elohim, creator gods in Genesis, in the beginning, the Elohim, and it's talking about those who have, so to speak, like an Enoch, left their first estate. Okay, so behold, verse 3 in chapter 28, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. So this is who we would say is the adversary of all adversaries, the prince of darkness, Satan, whoever you want to say is the arch nemesis of God and human and mankind. Really not of God, of mankind, right? Verse 4, with thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Okay, so see, this is talking about a powerful being. Now, people say, how could that? See, that's not Jesus because the serpent. This isn't about the serpent in Genesis 3, friends. This is about the serpent in the Elohim, one of the serpents, one of the seraphim, Lucifers, whatever you want to call them, the Nachash of the council, the spiritual beings, the creator gods, who did not want mankind to have access to all knowledge, because that is what makes you a god. Let me go back up to that. Let me read it. Verse 3, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that can hide from thee. See, knowledge of good and evil. So this is one of the Elohim. Let's keep going. With thy wisdom and thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasure. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Now, I want to get, so you get the gist of it. People say, see, well, this is talking about the serpent in Genesis 3. No, it is not talking about the serpent in Genesis 3. And I will show you. I'm going to go down to what I was referring to in my presentation on esoteric thoughts. Verse 13, thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle and gold. By the way, gems are, there's an esoteric teaching that I have on my channel somewhere. I got to dig it up. But gems, for a lot of the so-called royal families, or you say the 13 families, these so-called Illuminati families, they believe that their ancestors, the spirits of a lot of their ancestors are inside of these gems. So that's a little there's a gem for you, no pun intended. There's a gem for you when you see the reference here when they talk about all the different stones. Those stones represent spiritual beings that are inside of the rock. Spirits are in the stone. But that's something that some people say pseudo. That's a different teaching. I might come in and do it. I don't know. Okay, so the workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee. Tabrets and thy pipes. What are tabrets? Let me get that. Tabrets. What are tabrets? I will let you know. I want to share the exact definition. They are percussion instruments similar to tambourines. So why is this significant? Tabrets And I lost my place. Sorry. And pipes, because the music that's played. Okay, it's known that music is powerful. Sound is everything, but the music that is played, or sound, I should say, is related to all creator gods. Some people say, "Oh no, Satan was the orchestra. He was the maestro. He was the leader of the orchestra." But all the Elohim, all spiritual beings, are masters of sound. Okay, because sound manifests actual material. So a sound creates. It's commonly known, or how do I say this? Let me say this right. Sound, just the vibration makes it can form different shapes, and that's a whole different topic. Okay, I'm going off the rails, but basically all spiritual beings are masters of sound and music. Thy tabrets end of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. So when the creator council was created, they were created through sound as well. Actually, they manifest into this realm through a frequency of sound. That would be creation, right? So then once they manifest and they're present in this realm and exist, then they started to create things with sound and light. But light is sound. And yes, I know this isn't a scientific lesson right now, y'all. This is metaphysical. So sound and light are the same in this particular context. So anyway, because I'm mentioning that because when you look at the Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. So this is the anointed cherub, right? This is the Elohim, the seraphim, the Nakash, the shining one, the Lucifer. This is one of the Elohim when you say anointed cherub. And I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked, here it is, ready? Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. There it is. Finally, I got to it. Why? Why did I say that? Because you look at that and you say, okay, that's the serpent. That's the serpent. But I can go into the Bible. Let me show you this. Some people say magic trick. Let me show you what I can do. You can go into the Bible in Genesis chapter 3. I believe it's 3. Yes. And you can see that verse that was just mentioned. When you look at it beneath the surface, it says you walk up and down in the garden, right? Now remember, this is that verse was talking about the malevolent one, the evil one, the one who wants to be the most high, the one who knows everything, right? So let's go to Genesis 3 now, and let's see if I can find something in that chapter that pertains to the serpent and pertains to the garden, right? That everybody says Jesus isn't the serpent because the serpent is evil. The serpent is Satan. Well, let's see who in that chapter is walking in the garden. Let's see if it's the serpent. Let's find out who it is, because I know who it is. It's the Elohim. But don't take my word for it. Let me get it for you. All right, so let's get here. Let's go on to here. Okay, so their eyes were open once they listened to the serpent, who did not lie, who said, once you eat it, your eyes will be opened. Verse 7 actually says their eyes were opened. The Elohim, Satan, so-called, I'm using that word for context sake, said, when you eat it, you'll die. But Satan they lied. They didn't die. They became knowledgeable. And when it says they sewed fig leaves to cover themselves, the nakedness was their ignorance. When people say, see, it was evil when they're naked. No, people say, oh, they were innocent when they were naked. And once they take the fruit, they became evil. That's why they were ashamed of their nakedness. No, the representation of nakedness is that they did not know, like babies. Once they received the knowledge, then they covered themselves. You're covered with knowledge. You have an insurance and a security when you know you're safe. You ain't out there, you know what I say, with your butt out. You ever heard that saying? Ass out. You're just standing in the wind with your ass out. No, you're covered because you're smart. So verse 8, let's see who's walking, if it's the serpent or if it's the Elohim. Verse 8, and they heard, talking about Adam and Eve, and they heard the voice of the Lord God. That's translated. It originally was Elohim. Then later on, Yahweh was inserted into this text. But that's okay. It says, they heard the voice of the Lord God. This is referring to the Elohim. They heard the voice of the Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Okay, so grand opening, grand closing. Say that's the evil one that's talked about in Ezekiel 28. I have so much on this. It's ironclad. All the stuff about, oh, what about he's in enmity with the woman and the crush. I got you. I got all the answers in the Bible for that. All the answers. I do want to, so you see that. The Elohim was walking in the garden. And so I'm going to fast forward down here to show you right here what it says. Verse 22. Remember, the Elohim told them, oh, you can do whatever you want, but just don't, whatever you do, do not get smart. Do not take from the tree of knowledge of what is good and what is evil. What God would not want you to know what is good and what is evil. You teach your own children, your babies, don't touch that. It's not good. Oh, don't eat that. Don't say that. Baby, don't do that. But the Elohim said, oh, no, I don't want you to, don't take from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And let's see, they said, oh, because you'll die. But let's see what the serpent came as the hero and said, you won't die. Your eyes will be open and you will be gods like them. It was an absolute truth and no one can get around it. I'm doing this because I heard, shout out to Apostle Zaquan. I heard a build they were doing earlier talking about Satan is the, not exactly apostle, but it was his show. Satan is the serpent. And no, the scriptures don't even show you that. That's why I said my uniqueness is that I don't just go extra biblically. I can get in the Bible and show you that the serpent wasn't evil. You've just been programmed to think that the serpent is Satan, and that is the lie. That's why you're still asleep. And that's why you're not leveling up in your consciousness and in your power when it comes to this script, everything's spiritual. Everything's spiritual. Okay, so let's see here. Verse 22 says, let's see if the Elohim, this is out of their own mouths, so to speak. Let's see if they say, well, I guess they're going to die now. We told them if they eat it, they'll die. Let's see what they're saying. And the Elohim, and then it says Yahweh. If y'all want me to say Yahweh, I can. And the Elohim, Yahweh, said, behold, they're talking to each other. Behold, the man is become as one of us to know good and evil. So right there, you can see right in the scripture that they're liars. You see right. Isn't that wild that people have not seen this and they still don't want to? They said in the beginning of it, oh, don't eat anything because the minute you eat it, you're going to die. But once they do it, they said, oh, shoot. He took from the fruit and now he's one of us. He's a God. He knows good from evil. He's leveled up. And then they say, and now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Uh-oh, do you see this wickedness? They don't want the human to live forever. They said, damn, now he knows. He's got the knowledge. Oh boy, it's only a matter of time before he figures out that death isn't real. We better lock them down and get them back to sleep. That's what it says. It says, and now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore, the Elohim sent them from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken, to focus on the lower vibrational things. You see? Focus on what am I going to eat today? Am I going to be able to have sex? Am I going to be able to do this? And let me fight. That's what it's about. So the Elohim lied. And the serpent is the representation of Jesus in the Bible. Why? Because Christ comes again in the New Testament, and the same thing happens. The Sadducees and the Pharisees are walking around. Oh, why are you teaching that? Oh, well, you didn't do it this way. Oh, well, look at who he's gonna enlighten the people. We're not gonna be able to rule over them. That's exactly what happens in the New Testament. We have to destroy him. That's what's happening in this book, chapter 3. They're like, we got to do something about this serpent. The serpent, meaning they're all serpents, by the way. They're all serpents. They don't tell you that. See, the Bible hides things from you, but you got to get deep. You have to have a dark mind, and you have to dig deep so you can get the light, so you can be enlightened. So I'll leave it there. Let me see here. I'm gonna stop sharing. There's so much more, but I'm so glad that I wasn't muted. Sometimes I'll be just talking because I have to get to do something. But so that's just a little bit of it. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna upload a video or two on this channel. It's not going to be live. So you can look at some of the teachings that I have. Peace, everybody. Peace and love to everybody. I want to show you just a little bit though. So let me show you this is a teaching from like 2020. This is I look hilarious in this video. And everybody's like, Napa, this is before I was, oh, by the way, this is before I was wearing wigs, y'all. I started wearing wigs a lot. I love them. I love wigs, but you get to see me. This is like 2020. I was like, I look a little rugged, but whatever. I said, should I show this? And whatever. I might show it. I might upload it. I'm going to upload it. I'm not going to show it, but plus let me show it because I want to show you the difference off the topic for a second. I was so different. I was a little bit more soft-spoken. This is before I was battle scarred. Let me show you this one right here. Okay, so here I am on my channel talking about, I'm going to play it a little bit about the serpent, Lord. Okay, let me play it a little. All right, let me get here. Because I said the wigs thing because everybody's always bothering me about my wigs. I love my wigs. But when I was looking at this, I was like, oh, damn, this is before I was rocking my wigs. And I absolutely love them. I will always wear them. So sometimes I wear my natural hair. Sometimes I don't.
Peace and black power. Shalom.
Look how nice I was.
Assalamu alaikum. Hotep.
Black power.
Namaste.
Oh my gosh, I was so nice. I'm not nice anymore. No, I'm still nice. But it's like peace and black power. This is before I was attacked incessantly by trolls. But let me get off that. Okay, let's get back on the subject. Listen to this. This is a teaching I have. As you see, it says Alchemy, Part 2, Secrets of the Sacred Serpent. So I was teaching this a while before I even started debating this.
Stay all the greetings and peace to the family and whoever is tuning in for the first time to just listen in on what I'm going to talk about today, which is just really, I'm going to try to make this super brief, and it's going to be about the sacred serpent in every holy teaching. And as far as alchemy goes,
I am a vampire.
the serpent is a representation of renewal of self. So you can look at the symbolism of the serpent as a representation of your achievement, your elevation in the material self. So like we have the serpent, and then we have the bird. And in some cultures and teaching, like the Aztec with Quetzalcoatl, there's emergence or putting together of the serpent and the bird, and that actual deity, that depiction, that symbol, that the symbol of that particular winged flying serpent is worshipped in that culture, in that is and was worshipped by Aztecs, and those who consider themselves to be the descendants of and follow that that religion, so to speak. So the serpent is present in every single holy writing, every single religious belief, everyone. And that says a lot, because it tells us about the sacredness of that particular, the sacredness of the symbolism of that particular creature. Okay. Again, you want to think of the serpent as a representation of the highest elevated God self in the material. Because remember, we're dually existing in every way. We're dually existing as far as we are spiritual beings. We have a soul, which some people might say a consciousness. We have a soul, and we have the flesh material. Now, with that said, it gets complex, because the soul and the material still are in a basic, in a, how do you say, in a phase, or in a realm. So we exist in this realm, but there are layers to it. You understand? Like in a video game, when you're playing the whole video game, you still go through phases and stages, and then you move on. So like you can compare that to this realm that we're in, the highest elevated material self also is affected by the spirit that I mentioned, the power that comes down from the Almighty Source. So let me get into that. I kind of fine-tuned that since then. Basically, what I'm saying is we're all, you can see yourself symbolically as a vessel, just like a light bulb. There's an electrical current comes through and into the filament, and then the light shines. We are drawing from a universal source, a universal mind of God. We are drawing from a life force, whatever you want to call it. And even someone who is just relying on science cannot deny that there's an energetic force that is what we call life. There's an energy, an electricity, so to speak, what we call life. It's a spark of life, right? And it's in us. And so we draw from that energy, from that energetic source. I call it the universal mind, the universal source of God. And we all draw from it. We're actually all drawing from it right now. Peace, everybody. And so
what I'm getting at, I'm just going on and talking about the layers and relating this to, again, to the serpent. The serpent is symbolically a fiery being, an energetic, a source of energy that it's so immense, right? I'm talking about these creator beings. Now, going into a little bit of science, if you don't mind, let me show you just a list of, okay, I think there's, let me get it. There's radiation. Okay. There's 3 primary energy sources. I think it is. Are there 3? I don't think it's 3. I think there's more than 3. I don't want to, it's a minute. I'm not an expert at this, but I do I have the information, but you know how you have to like dust it off and really get it. So I know there's magnetism and gravity. Okay. Electromagnetism, to be specific. Hold on. I'm going to screen share it so you can see it. Energetic forces. Okay. And this is really interesting because it goes into physics and then quantum physics. And so we have gravity. I know that. Oh, yes. That's what the one I was trying to remember. Strong and weak forces. And that's when you start talking about the, quarks and all that good stuff. Like when we go into subatomic studies. So, quantum physics. So there's 4 fundamental forces of the universe. There it is. 4 fundamental forces of the universe. There's gravity, electromagnetism, and the strong and weak forces. These forces are all around us. The force of gravity holds Earth in its orbit around the sun. Some people try to dispute that, but okay. I don't really go into that. But basically, so why did I say that? Getting back to the serpents and the creator gods, the forces in the energetic spiritual forces in the beginning that are in these holy writings. These forces, when we talk about the Higgs boson, and we talk about that particular the Higgs field, they're okay. I'm gonna mess this up a little, but you'll get the gist of it. There are studies showing. No, don't mess it up. I'm not gonna be ghetto like that. Let me actually get it. There are studies showing that the Higgs field is like a soup. You know how you hear about like the primordial soup in evolution? Well, if you look at the Higgs field, I'm going to get it. It's like, imagine like just all this stuff, this goopy, gloopy stuff. And then we all exist in it. Higgs field. Let me get it. I know that sounds crazy. Somebody say Higgs field is a soup. Not exactly like a soup, but it's like okay. It's okay. Let me read this. I don't have to share it. I just Googled it. Okay. Higgs field soup. It's the concept of Higgs field as a soup is a common metaphor. So see, I picked this up from a physicist, by the way. That's not me. I didn't just call it soup. So it's a common metaphor used to explain the Higgs boson's role in giving mass to elementary particles. We live in a material world, right? So giving mass to elementary particles. However, this analogy is not accurate. Remember I said I got to get it? I don't want to just be flying by the seat of my pants. The Higgs field is a field that permeates the universe. So it permeates the entire universe. And the mass of particles is determined, mass, that's us, y'all. Everything else that exists here, everything that is material, it has mass. Get it? And the mass of particles is determined by the interaction with this field. The Higgs field does not exert a drag on particles. as suggested by the soup metaphor. Instead, the strength of the Higgs field determines the frequency of particles' vibrations. Remember I talked about sound? Which in turn determines their mass. This is more accurate representation of how the Higgs field gives mass to particles. So the Higgs field gives mass to particles. So going back to what I was saying about energy, right? And these forces, that's why that's why I related it to sound as well, like the vibration, giving mass to particles. So our existence, our material existence, is linked to our so-called spiritual existence. If you don't want to call it spirit, you can say what's vibrational and what's subatomic that we haven't even discovered yet. Things that we aren't completely, we don't know 100% about, but we definitely are uncovering so much. And the metaphysical is linking, it's getting back to where alchemy was the first and the most elite science. Now we're moving back from science as just the observance of what we can observe naturally, because we can observe so much more that we never could observe before. So in our understanding in mainstream science, stay with me, in conventional science, we are understanding that, or we have for a long time, not always, that just because we cannot see it immediately doesn't mean that it is not there and it doesn't exist. Now, that I'm not just saying like things that are subatomic. I'm saying there are studies, I will continue to bring this up. There are studies at different types of universities and doctors, MDs, scientists are studying, they're coming together with philosophers and they're studying consciousness and the metaphysical, what was at one time called pseudo, like near-death experiences, NDEs, out-of-body experiences, psychic, what is the thing that people make fun of that I do? I can't remember. Telekinesis, psychokinesis, past lives, would be reincarnation. All of this is now being studied mainstream, and scientists such as medical doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, they're coming together with philosophers, doctors of the metaphysical. They're coming together and they're sitting down and they're researching and coming up with they're looking at compelling evidence that shows, hey, this isn't so pseudo after all. And so I went all the way around the bend to say this. We exist in levels and layers. So the serpent represents our material existence. Okay. And that is why you see, us, we're referred to as like, we're grounded. I'm talking about the flesh, our material existence. But once we level up, now this is all symbolism. The serpent would represent your material existence. And as you exist in your material, you have so many different facets to you, so many different layers, and those are your scales, right? So, but you're grounded. Then as you progress and you grow and you learn, you start to elevate and you become the bird. So the bird is, you still have levels, you've got the feathers, right? But you take flight. You go beyond what you were first at one time limited to. And so you can even see that represented in Kemet, where there is oh my God, I think it's Wajet. I'm going to check it out. The goddess of I'm going to say north. I got to look it up. There's Wajet. There's the serpent goddess. And then there's the vulture, the bird goddess. I'm going to get it right now though, so I can tell you exactly. Serpent goddess. And that was what was represented on the actual headpieces of the pharaohs. Serpent goddess. of Kemet. I think it's Wajet. I could be wrong. That's why I'm looking it up. You know what I mean? Okay, let's see here. So her name is Wajet. Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's good. So the serpent goddess of Kemet is Wajet. Maybe I should show it. Let me show this to you all. Let me take this down. I'll upload this video. I'm done with this already. Okay, 1 second. I'm sorry I'm not looking in the chat, but I will in a second. Then I'm going to go eat dinner. I made a really good dinner. It's late. I'm still going to eat at 9 o'clock. Yes, I am, because I exercise. And okay, let's see here. Let's see. Watch it. I just Googled it. Oh, no. I want to share it. Okay. Wajet, the serpent goddess of Kemet, Wajet. Wajet is the serpent goddess of ancient Egypt. She is the central figure in the pantheon of Egyptian mythology. She's often depicted as a cobra or a woman with a cobra's head. See the serpent symbolism? Symbolizing protection, but it's benevolent. Symbolizing protection, royalty, and divinity. Wajet was the patron goddess of Lower Egypt. Okay, it was Lower Egypt. I need to check that. And played a crucial role in the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, symbolizing the unity of the two lands. She was also associated with the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus, Het-Heru. I mean, no, not Het-Heru, the Eye of Horus. Het-Heru is actually Sekhmet, who actually is related to Hathor, who is Het-Heru. You get what I'm saying? But anyway, that Heru is, I believe, yes, is the Kemetic way to say Horus. Okay. Powerful protective deities. Wajet's name is derived from the term for symbols of her domain, Lower Egypt, the papyrus. Her worship began in the pre-dynastic period and evolved over time, becoming a national symbol and protector of the pharaohs. Wajet's protective attributes extend across several spheres of life. Several spheres of life. Where am I? Including royal protection, fertility, and afterlife. Her image, particularly the Urias, and that's that little snake coming out of the forehead. I think it's Urias. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, let me know. Particularly the Urias. That's, as I said, when you look at the headpiece, there's a serpent, a cobra coming right out of the top of the head of the pharaoh's headpiece. Represented the raised cobra, often found in the crown of pharaohs, serving as a fierce guardian of the state and the pharaoh. So let me see. She's the goddess of, what did it say? The south? Serpent goddess. Okay, so let's see who the vulture goddess is, right? So see the bird and the snake. The vulture goddess of, it's saying Wajet again, which cannot be correct. No, her name is not Wajet. Her name is Nekhbet. Nekhbet. Nekhbet is an early pre-dynastic local goddess in Kemetic mythology, who was the patron of the city Nekheb. Ultimately, she became the patron of Upper Egypt. So Wajet's Lower Nekhbet or Nekheb. You got to tell me if you know the Kemetic name. Let me know. So that's what I wanted to show you. The bird and the serpent. All right, everybody. What are you eating? Raisins and garbanzo beans and potatoes and celery? No. No, but that's good. I don't think anything. That's pretty good. But that sounds like something you would eat on like a trip, like a road trip or something. No, I made tostadas, not tostones, tostadas. Tostones are plátanos, and you smash them. They're really good. You fry them. Then you eat them with beans and rice and meat. But I made tostadas, which are like flat corn, like maize. It's like corn, flattened corn, and you fry it. and you make it crispy, and then you put some beans on it, and you put some cheese and some people put lettuce, but I put repollo. I put cabbage on mine. I like cabbage. And then some tomatoes and onions, and you just eat it with some queso, and you just bust down on it. Not bust down. I learned that from the red pill section, that's something that's, I guess, sexual, but bust down like eating it. Like you really get. Anyway, I love everybody. I'm going to come back, talk to you more about this. Just jumping back in from the Nile from the Nile to Mexico. Okay. I think are you talking about you coming from the Nile to Mexico? Oh, I got you. I'm a little hungry that my brain is going slower. Yeah, I was talking about the Nile. Now here we are in the Gulf of Mexico. So doesn't it sound good? I'm so hungry. I am not disagreeing. Let's see what Moses said. I'm not disagreeing with Napai. I'm only reading Hebrew's definition and making sure. No, you know what, Moses? I wish that I could do a show tonight, but I'd love your input. We all, we're not an echo chamber over here. So definitely whatever you have, I'm going to do a show tomorrow. I'm going to try to upload some stuff from my channel, like so people can just take a look. But I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I heard, a lot of people don't see the serpent in the garden as benevolent. But we all come together, we put everything on the table, and we let everybody just pick what they like, and they take what works for them, and they verify it in their own lives, and then we hopefully can coexist in harmony in the universal mind of God, that vibration. Anyway, peace and love. I'm coming back. Peace, King Mind Cola. Peace, Moses. Peace, Rocket. Oh my gosh, Rocket Van. Johnny Poderosa. I wish I could name everybody. Apprentice of Bobby Hemet, the sister goddess. Let me see. F.S. Drathio, Robert Warren, Duke Murdoch. This is it. Who else? I saw a sister in here. She's sweet. Thank you for saying such. I love. I just love. Kind sisters are always the best. I love them. And peace and love to all of you. I'll even end this with a song, and then I'll come back. Do your show. Hey, let me say this, everybody. If you have a channel, if you're a teacher, go do a video on this. It doesn't have to be long. And then say, hey, tag us, tag the HOK Coliseum. Good night. Say, yeah, oh, definitely. We're gonna come back tomorrow, okay? We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this tomorrow. Actually, we'll do it early because Sonetter, I'm glad you brought up Black Woman. Sonetter has a show tomorrow with the sister. I don't remember her name, but it is on the HOK Coliseum. Let me, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. I want to go eat. I'm such a piggy. I'm so hungry. I'm not sharing it. I gotta go. But it's on the House of Consciousness, y'all. It'll be tomorrow. So maybe I'll go early, Moses. I'll go early, and then or after Sonetter does a show with the sister about her book. But we definitely will continue this. All right, everybody. Peace and love.
Yeah, the HOK is the toughest environment. And or at your own risk is the toughest environment. The HOK is the toughest environment. Yeah, stay strong, don't cry. It's the toughest environment. Yeah. No handouts here. You have to earn your respect. And when you do, you make they ass regret. They call it the toughest. And the title is earned from the bridges we crossed and the lessons we learned. In a cold-blooded kingdom, a concrete cage. Muslim, Christian, Israelites step on the stage. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. In a cold-blooded kingdom, Sonata created. HOK, where you can't fake it. The HOK is where you fight back. No room for error, no window attack. It's a masterclass, how you handle the heat. Where the pedigree is written on the concrete streets. Toughest on debate and asking for more. The HOK is the toughest environment.